Hello, Future is Now wrestling fans. I am longtime independent wrestling fan and supporter Robert. To give the people what they want is the very first FIN wrestling event is in the history books, and what a fun show this was. The night kicks off with Ring of House of Glory world champion Anthony the Road Gang going in the ring, and he mentioned he was scheduled to face Bull James in the main event, but he tells Bull, how about we do the match right now? Bull comes out and they get underway, and the Rogue Anthony Gangone defeats Bull James to retain the House of Glory Heavyweight Championship. The next matchup we saw wrestling's richest prize, Darius Carter, with his intern, TK Luther the Fifth or the Third, in his corner, go one-on-one with the Concrete Rose Sonny Kiss. And very good matchup these two had, and Darius had Sonny in the figure four leg lock, and before Sonny could submit, the bell rang, and it turned out we had a time limit draw, and after the match ended, Darius gave Sonny a Yakuza kick. Up next, we had a four-way matchup which saw Vinny Pacifico defeat the Grim Reaper, the future Sebastian Cage, and Everett James. After gaining the victory, Blade Velak, I do apologize if I got his name wrong, he comes through the crowd and he attacks Pacifico until the referees get him away. Up next, Cash Flow, Ken Broadway, and Matthew Ryan Shapiro come out, and they're running, I forgot what they were saying about not having the match with Matt Tremont later in the show, but out comes Danny D'Amato, and Danny tells the guys the match is still happening, and Tremont even came out and said the match was still going to happen later in the show. Up next, we had the Greek god Papa Don defeat the five-card stud Joey Ace in a very good competitive matchup. Up next, we had tag team action as we saw the New York Wrecking Crew, Chris Seaton and Smooth Blackman with Matthew Ryan Shapiro in their corner, defeat the Zoltan, Absolute Chris Cage, and Superstar Whiplash with Raze in their corner. And, New York Wrecking Crew, NYWK, were victorious over the Zoltan. At that point, they did go to intermission. And then we had, after intermission, out comes the colossal Mike Law. He hits the ring, and he has this belt with him. I don't know what he named it. And he said he couldn't get a woman to face him, but out comes the humongous Juba. And basically, Juba does a number on colossal Mike Law en route to victory. Up next, we had a tag team action as the Friends of Tom, Jay George and Jeff Cannonball, who were accompanied to the ring by Bobby Blaze. I don't know if that's the same Bobby Blaze who wrestled for Smoky Mountain Wrestling in the past, and AP Mike, who was the gentleman with the gray hair in the newspaper, as they took on the Super Savages. And during this matchup, Jay George notices Michael Licata with his bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. He takes them from Licata's grasp, pours whatever was left in the bag onto the mat, and I believe Jay George eventually got suplexed on the Doritos and reacted like they were thumbtacks. And eventually the Friends of Tom were victorious over the Super Savages, but who's Tom? Up next, we had a great singles match as the Man of Steel Mike Verna defeated the good guy Azrael. I believe this may or may not have been a first-time one-on-one meeting between those two gentlemen. Up next, in what was a great matchup, Rude Boy Riley defeats Maxwell Jacob Feinstein. A very competitive match by those two guys. And then, in the main event, Cash Flow Ken Broadway with Matthew Ryan Shapiro defeats the Bulldozer Matt Tremont. And very good show. And obviously, I'll have things to say about the possible next show coming up. But it's time for the personal notes. Great seeing Mike McNicholas, Stella, Jeff. Who else can I remember seeing at this event? Oh, Billy and her mom. Sitting right next to me for this one. Jose, who comes to any indie show in that building. Dang it, who else we got that I can think of here? All right. I was originally going to go home go home from work before initially, but due to a long bus wait and the fact that I was starving, I decided to go to the Buffalo Wild Wings by Forest Hills train station, and my waitress was so dumb and so forgetful that, it took so long for her to bring me my drink after, even after my appetizer came to the table. And turns out, Creative Pro Wrestling's Kyle Reynolds was bartending over there, and FIN Wrestling, he and his brother Alex would be pretty suitable for future FIN shows. I don't know if they really team anywhere anymore, but they would be interesting. Have those two guys there. Oh, Michael Licata, very unfortunate what happened to those Cool Ranch Doritos. I have to say, was that a party? I don't know if you really watch these videos, but was that a party-sized bag that you brought? I'd like to know the answer. Doritos are so darn good to begin with. All right. Okay. Now it's time for We Had One Memorable Quote of the Night. This is what a real champ looks like. Michael from the General Admission podcast holding up his Dairyman Championship belt before the show began. Now, I'm sure for those of you who were in the crowd noticed one particular grade A ham in the front row. And, due to his antics were so silly and stupid, I kind of came up with a song. I mean, this song does sound a little familiar, and I want to apologize as a disclaimer right now. I do not own this very song that you're about to hear. However, due to the way this guy was acting throughout the night, I decided to put my own little twist and tweak on it. The song sounds familiar. You may or may not like the words, folks, so brace yourselves! Big Show going down, burning his feet just walking around. Big Show making him sweat, heels getting close, hasn't got him yet. He can't ref, he can't bump, only thing about him is he's down in the dumps. He can't ref, he can't sing, he just stands no selling everything. Blue jeans over typical gear, he's always in a promoter's ear. Yeah, that's a... Yeah. Well, that's a start, folks. I mean, I don't know if it's as good as that CPA song I came up with in recent memory. But I will not mention this dude's name and give him his 2 seconds of glory. But this guy, everybody was telling him to shut up and everything. I mean, come on. He really, he's a real cornball and a grade A ham. So, that's what I want to tell you, folks. No return date was announced for the next Future Is Now show. I'm hoping it'll be within the first quarter of the new year. And I would like to see at the next FIN show, like to see a rematch between Sonny Kiss and Darius Carter. Well, that's one match I want to see for the next FIN show. Definitely a great night. I'm glad I went. So this will be something, folks. And FIN.